So today I thought I would do a video on one of my recent tattoos, which is my sternum tattoo, which you cannot see because I'm wearing a t-shirt. But I got my sternum tattoo done last month in February, and since then I have had so many questions and so many people asking about sternum tattoos. And even though there's a lot on the internet, a lot of it contradicts itself, and obviously like everything is very subjective to your own body, but for me, I would do it again. So I thought I would share my own story and experience of getting a sternum tattoo. So I've wanted a sternum tattoo since like literally forever. Like when I look back into like the little notebook I kept when I was at school of which tattoos I wanted a sternum tattoo. I have always loved them. I think they're really pretty. I think I went through a stage when I thought like you could only get them if you were like skinny, which was like a bad thing for me to have thought. I think it like held me back from getting one for like a really long time. Obviously, knowing me, I know that I'm not really gonna have my sternum out very often at all. I hardly ever have it out. I think I've worn a crop top once in the last 3 years. But like I think that was something that was putting me off of getting it, because I was like, well, no one's gonna see it. But then on the flip side, I have so many other tattoos which no one ever sees anyway, like so I don't really know what I was worrying about. And then I saw like a little post, it was actually on Treacle Tat's potato fan page, and it was literally just like an appreciation of sternum tattoos, and there were some really slight ladies in there and they looked so gorgeous. There were some ladies with like bigger breasts and they looked so gorgeous, with smaller breasts and it looked gorgeous. And I realized actually like every single body shape, like even the like really larger ladies, like plus size ladies, they just look gorgeous on every single body type that I saw. There was literally not one where I thought, ugh, that does not suit you. So I was like, do you know what? I'm actually going to do it. I'm going to finally do this. So I, previous to this, like 2 years ago-ish, me and Mike had said once I got my teaching degree, like as a reward for my teaching degree, I would get my sternum tattooed. And I'd seen some various different like bat designs, which I really liked, and I wanted like something inspired by those. I got my degree and then I like completely chickened out, just like avoided it. Like didn't want anything to do with it. But yeah, so I saw this post on Treacle Tat's Facebook page and I was like, do you know what? I'm gonna do it. Like I don't care if only me and Mike like ever see it. Like I want it. I want to see that like in the mirror. So I think I had just had, I go through this cycle where I get a tattoo and then I literally come home, I love it, but then I book one that same day. So I always am in a cycle of having one booked. I don't really, this sounds really bad, I don't remember a time when I didn't have like an upcoming tattoo. I know that I've got one like on the 21st of March coming up, and then I know I've also got one, I think the 2nd week in April. So like I always have them booked up. It's like my treat. It's like the thing that I like to like reward myself each month with, is getting another tattoo. So my legs are quite covered. My arms are like really bare. I've got like one here, but like actually I think when people like see me sat down filming, or like even just sat down in real life, they don't think that I'm tattooed, because like it doesn't it literally doesn't look like I am, other than like my little spots on my fingers. I was like, I've been building up all these ones on my legs, and like I was starting to look like I was just wearing like tattoo tights or something. I've got a few, like I've got one on my back, and like one on each of my hips, but like yeah, I was like looking a bit like tattoo heavy like on my legs. And I had just booked, so like my first ever tattoo, I'm planning to do like a whole tattoo tour soon. I'm actually really excited to do that. I've got like a cat bat on some pumpkins, which is like my first big piece I ever got on the side of my thigh. I'm sure you would have seen it at some point. I don't like that piece anymore. I love the idea of it. I like that I did the drawing myself, like I like it, but it's just not aged well at all. Bearing in mind I got it when I was 18. It's only 5 years old. Like, and it already is starting to look blurry. It's because there's no thick lines, and like that was before I discovered like traditional and neo-traditional tattoos. And like my only advice really is, if you're thinking of getting a tattoo, think about what style you're gonna get, because this had was a bit of dot work, it had very thin lines, and they just blurred out, and it just it looks a mess. I will try and post a picture. So I want to get this done. So I said to myself, like, 2020, I'm gonna get my leg done. So I booked to get my leg done in February. I think it was like the beginning of February. I booked to have it done, and then I started looking at sternum tattoos and I was like, oh, I really want one of these. And then I made the mistake of photoshopping like a design. Like, I put loads of different ideas together and made like my own design, and I photoshopped it onto my body, and I was like, that looks cool, I want that. So I like was literal spare at the moment, just booked up there, and then straight after I literally saved it as a JPEG off of Photoshop, sent it to my artist and was like, I want this. So she said she could fit me in later in February, so I was like, cool. So I was gonna have my thigh tattoo at the beginning of February, and then my sternum tattoo like a week later, like closer towards the end of February. So that was the plan, and then after talking for a bit, I decided to swap them over because I just wanted my sternum like then and there. So I booked my sternum first, and also it meant I then had half term to like recover from my sternum, and then I would get my leg tattoo. Well, basically how it worked out was I did 2 hours of getting the outline of my sternum tattoo, and I told her not to rush it, like I was happy to come back in different sittings, and also like I'd heard that the sternum was the worst place in the world, so I didn't want to like spend hours like there. So I know like after about 2 hours I become a bit of a wimp. So I sat for 2 hours and had the outline done, and I'm gonna be honest with you, for the whole 2 hours, like the whole 2 hours, other than one part, I would rate the outline of my sternum tattoo at the highest a 2.8 out of 10. Like, it was so pain-free. Like, I hate to be that person. Like, I hate it when people say this. Like, I generally hate it. I like nearly fell asleep. I was just sitting, relaxing. I was watching The Office, like so chill. And she was just like doing that, and then halfway through she's like, oh, do you mind if we swap? So I swapped around, and like it was so relaxing. I was just like, wow, like if anything it's like a weird massage I'm getting. So the only bit that was painful is, I'm gonna take you down, is this part here, which was going like closer, like between my breasts. So like the part that goes up here, this whole like spiderweb was excruciating. And I mean, I say excruciating, but I mean like the rest of it was like a 2 out of 10, and like probably the spiderweb was like a 4 out of 10. So it was like probably like the normal amount of pain that I get from like an average leg tattoo. I think it just felt slightly worse because it wasn't a 2 anymore. But honestly, like probably the most painful part of it was like the first day afterwards, just like trying to move and like bend. I actually wore, I don't know if I have any on hand to help me show you. I wore, so like everyone said I couldn't wear a bra after getting it tattooed for like X amount of weeks. I think it was like a month afterwards. Being someone with larger breasts, I was quite worried about this because I wear a bra to like avoid having backache. I bought, I called it a granny bra, but it's basically like just a very nondescript, it still is padded. I think you may be able to take the pads out. I bought 2 of these from Asda, and there is like no like real seams going on here. It's just super stretchy, non-wired. They don't even come in like bra sizes. I bought it in an XXL because I didn't want it to be tight. It just has like a stretchy band around the outside. I guess like basically it is a bralette, let's be fair. It's a bralette, but like a bit more, like slightly more supportive, I think, for someone who does have larger breasts. But like if you have smaller breasts, I think definitely just like a regular lace bralette would work. But basically I wore one of these. I started wearing one of those the day after I got it. So the first day I found really painful because my breasts were like leaning on my sternum tattoo, like going, when I would just sit down like this, they would just like rest on my tattoo and they'd be really painful. Whereas when I wore this, it had slightly more support. So it was just lifting my boobs up to the point that they weren't like laying on the sternum tattoo, Once I started wearing that, the healing process was absolutely fine. I did use Sanoderm. The first time I used Sanoderm, I put too much Sanoderm on. I like made it too wide and too long, and it just started to pull and got really uncomfortable. When I went and got it coloured and shaded, I used a smaller bit of Sanoderm and it was much more comfortable, so definitely just like cut that Sanoderm to shape. Although I have to say, when wearing the cling film, because I always wear cling film for the first 24 hours, I do change the cling film, but as in like what I have covering it is cling film for the first 24 hours. Like even wearing cling film wasn't like too annoying, whereas like if I have cling film on my foot or something, I find it so frustrating. But actually wearing the cling film was fine, and then once I had the right shape Sanoderm, it was perfect. So I went back a week later to get my thigh done, but I kind of decided like the day before that I'd actually prefer just to get my sternum finished, because my sternum was just line work and all of my tattoos are colour tattoos and they're all like the same sort of style nearly, which is why I really want to get my thigh redone, because that's the only one really not in that style. And so when I looked at my sternum, I loved it, like I loved it so much, but it just looked weird to me because it wasn't coloured. So I decided to go get it coloured, because it wasn't like, it had lost the pain, like even though it had only been a week, like the pain had gone. It was just starting to go into the itchy phase. So I went and she said like she was fine and happy to colour it, and I moved my leg one, my thigh one to April. So I still haven't had it done. But basically I went to go get it coloured a week later. The first half of it, which going back to the outline, neither side hurt more, they both felt very equal to me. The first half, which was my right half, this half of my body, she did first and it felt fine. I would probably step it up one and say it was a 3 out of 10 in pain, but really nothing like I was thinking this is absolutely fine. Literally at the hour mark, it's like someone had changed the needle to like a dagger, and the second half of my body for the second hour was excruciating. It probably went to about a 7 or an 8 out of 10 for the second half. Looking back on this, I think it's because I normally get like palm size tattoos, and usually I book 2 hours, so it's 1 hour outline and 1 hour shading, and that is usually perfect for me. I think that my body just can't cope with longer than 1 hour of shading, which, as I said, like everyone's pain thresholds are different. Mine is okay, like I am fine for a couple of hours, but after a couple of hours it starts to feel uncomfortable, and as soon as it starts feeling uncomfortable, I'm thinking like, do you know what, I'll just come back another day when I've got more like adrenaline in me. So yeah, like I would say 3 out of the 4 hours were like pain-free, like would happily do it like now again. The last hour of the shading was painful. I don't think it was anything to do with the side of my body or whereabouts it was on my body. I think it was literally just because I feel sore after over an hour of shading. But like, I sat through it, obviously, like I wasn't going to go home with like half a coloured in sternum piece, especially as she literally did half of it and then got me to turn around on the bed and do the other half. I always lay down when I have a tattoo, doesn't matter if it's like on my finger, if it's on my leg, if it's on my back, obviously I have to lay down, you know, it doesn't matter where it is, I will always lay down. Even when I had like my inner arm done, I just lay down, because for me that like sleeping and resting and relaxing. So yeah, like after that, I definitely think after shading, it originally was more sore. I think it took me 2 days before I could actually put on one of these bras, but actually like there was a lot less like kind of secretion coming out of it. The Sanoderm, as I said, I put a smaller amount of Sanoderm on, so that wasn't pulling, and I've kind of come to the conclusion it's like the black outlines, which is a bit that makes it like the really deep sore feeling, whereas like the shading's more like feels like a surface soreness. I don't know if that makes any sense. So yeah, like honestly, it's been 2 weeks now and I think it's pretty much healed. I'm gonna move my camera back. So it's been 2 weeks now, so it is nearly healed. I had a shower earlier, so it definitely needs like a moisturize. Here is how it looks like 2 weeks after getting the colour done and 3 weeks after doing the outline, you can see like the shading here is quite dry. It definitely needs a moisturize. It is like slightly lower down, like if that's where like my bra ends, it's slightly lower down than some sternum pieces, but I've done it so that like when I'm not wearing a bra, it's like where my boobs would like naturally hang, if that makes sense. So yeah, I'm really pleased with the colours. I feel like a lot more comfortable with it now that it is coloured, just because like as I said, the rest of the ones that I have are like coloured in. Let me just find some moisturiser. So I do notice like with some tattoos that like after they've healed, the colour seems to go quite a lot. But my colour seems to look like exactly how it did like when it was first done, which I'm really pleased about. I always get this bit like here where the black shading looks really like, I guess scabby is the best way of describing it, where it looks scabby to begin with. That scabbiness goes after like 5 weeks for me. But yeah, you can see like obviously like the spiderweb is like completely healed because that's had like a week longer than the other bits. But yeah, I'm really pleased with kind of how that turned out. So I wouldn't say that it's changed too much in the way it looks since I got it done. Sometimes tattoos like completely change like from the time that they're done to healed, but the colours have stayed just as like vibrant as they were, and none of the outlines have blown out, which I'm really pleased about. So yeah, just in general really pleased with it, to the fact actually you guys would be so proud of me. I actually went, I haven't worn it yet, ahead and I bought a crop top. I got it from Guildford. I bought a crop top. It's like still got the label on. I got it in an XL because I didn't want it to be like too tight, and it fits so nicely. Normally I buy a large in Guildford, but like I literally love it because my like little like the floral bits just like stick out underneath of the lace. And then I bought this and I realised I don't really have anything high-waisted other than pyjama bottoms, so I've also just purchased a skirt as well to go with this. But I'm making steps, you see, and like if anything comes out of this in the fact that maybe I wear a crop top 2 times a year to show off my bat sternum piece, then that's good. Because honestly my like body positivity on that part of my body has definitely like sky high rocketed since I've got that, and like you would not have normally seen me like standing in front of the camera happy to like show you my sternum, because I just wouldn't normally do that. But now I feel like I want to show it off and I want to show people because I'm really happy with how it looks. When I look in the mirror I'm like, damn, that is a cool sternum piece, and I am so pleased with it. So I thought I'd show you my experience because it has been nothing but positive, other than like the bit of pain in the last hour. But other than that, I absolutely have loved the process. I've loved designing it. I've loved seeing my design. Getting it wasn't too bad. Healing it really wasn't bad at all. If you're being put off because they're telling you have to like wear you can't wear a bra for a certain amount of time, I am now wearing normal bras, but only for the last like 4 days. But honestly, wearing non-wired bras hasn't really felt that different to me, and I'm definitely thinking I may invest in some actual just like everyday non-wired bras, maybe some nicer looking ones. So yeah, it's been awesome. I'm so pleased with it, and if you're thinking about it, just do it. Stop thinking about it, stop over analysing it, just get it done, because it will totally be worth it. So thank you very much for watching. If you do have any questions or comments, please do leave them down below if it's sunny where you are. I hope you're enjoying the shade, less you have vitamin D deficiency, and I will see you next time. Bye!